Joining us now is Democratic Congressman Tom Malinowski of New Jersey. He is on the House Committees for Homeland Security, Transportation and Infrastructure, and Foreign Affairs. Congressman Malinowski, good evening. Welcome.
Good evening. Great to be here.
So what's your sense of these negotiations? The White House released a statement thanking the GOP for their work so far, but saying that it's not quite where the president wants it to be. Is it your sense that there are one or two sticking points left, or is there more than that that's keeping both sides apart?
I think we can do it. I know we can do it in the House. I spent some of today talking to my Democratic and Republican, reasonable Republican colleagues on the House Problem Solvers Caucus about what a bipartisan compromise might look like. And I think we're very close to something that would be acceptable to me as a Democrat. And, I think the big sticking point's probably going to be how we pay for it. We have some Republicans who refuse to touch anything related to the 2017 tax bill as if that was something sacred. Some have rejected even President Biden's incredibly reasonable proposal to leave those tax rates in place for corporations, but simply say every corporation should at least pay those tax rates, a minimum 15% tax. So we're going to need some give from the Republicans on that, because you know what, we want to be responsible. We want to pay for this. We don't want to just add billions of dollars more to the national debt. That used to be their issue. We're trying to be responsible now. But again, I think we can get there.
I know you said reasonable Republicans. How reasonable do you think the GOP caucus is in general on working towards a bipartisan deal?
We had 35 votes for the January 6th commission in the House, and that was a bipartisan deal. We gave the Republicans everything they asked for, and most of them still voted against it. That was a searing moment, I think, for a lot of us. I think the contrast right now is we're busy trying to create jobs, and a large segment of that party is busy trying to create drama and chaos, still enthralled to former President Trump, telling the country that even Republicans as conservative as Liz Cheney are not welcome in the party. And if she's not welcome in the party, then who is welcome? Anybody who is independently minded, who thinks critically, even if they're deeply conservative, is not welcome. And that makes it a very hard party to negotiate with. We do have a few who are willing to find common ground, and my hope is that we can get there.
Well, how much do you think that the difficulty is with the Republican Party as opposed to maybe the call coming from inside the House, with different points of view within the Democratic Party that have to be reconciled? We heard Joe Manchin say that he's not willing to support anything that is not thoroughly bipartisan as he sees it. There's talk about how Senator Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona might also be a similar impediment to what some more progressive Democrats in the Senate might want. How much of this is negotiating within the party as opposed to negotiating with the other party?
I think there are some core elements of an infrastructure bill that every Democrat is going to need to be able to vote for this bill. We don't want to just rebuild Dwight Eisenhower's interstate highway system for the 21st time. We want to move into the 21st century. And that means, in part, making a down payment in this bill on the transition from fossil fuels to clean energy. We need America to lead that global transition, not fall behind China and Europe and other countries. So for me, and I think for most Democrats, that bipartisan compromise, even if it doesn't include everything that Joe Biden has proposed, it's got to include the money for electrical vehicles and for upgrading our electrical grid and other climate change related measures that he proposed. I can tell you, in the House, as we have these bipartisan discussions, we have consensus on much of that. And so that's what gives me some confidence that we can get to a compromise that most Democrats, including many progressive Democrats, will view as a huge step forward for the country.
And very, very briefly, Congressman, we mentioned that Donald Trump is planning to speak tonight in North Carolina. What impact do you think that he might have on, say, the midterms or 2024, or even these negotiations right now?
I'm trying not to think about him. It's hard not to, because so many of my colleagues in the House and Senate, Republican colleagues, seem to still be enthralled to him. Again, the January 6th vote was just a classic example of that, where we gave them everything they asked for, and they were still unwilling to cross the leader of their party, and that's what he still is. So we're gonna do our best to run on a record of economic recovery, a record of creating jobs,
right,
a record of taking America from last in the world to first in the world in fighting COVID. And if he's out there creating chaos, well, that'll be the contrast.
New Jersey Democratic Congressman Tom Malinowski. Congressman, thanks very much.